that is amazing.
Tonight, in his most daring feat yet,
I'm about to make a transition here.
daredevil Nick Wallenda traversing an 1,800-foot wire
Ooh, that was fun.
across the crater of Nicaragua's Masaya volcano.
Big announcement is right now, so what do you want to tell us?
That's right. So I will be walking over, actually the first person in the world walking over an active volcano. It'll be...
An active.
That's right. That's right. So it has everything you'd imagine with a volcano, including the heat. Of course, the gases, as you can see on the screen now, they can become so thick that you can't see in front of you, which is certainly a concern, as well as the fact that you can't breathe those gases. So I have to be wearing a gas mask.
It's not going to be as stable, and you may not have full use of your eyes.
That's correct. Yeah. So there are times where
it will move, and you'll be okay.
Nick Wallenda stepping into history, becoming the first person to ever cross a wire above an active volcano.
Oh my gosh.
Live in prime time, his aerialist wife Arindira the opening act. Nick watching from the edge of the crater with pride as she hung by her teeth.
what a sight.
With his wife back on solid ground, it was time for Nick to take his first steps in the thick fog, 1,800 feet off the ground. Wearing goggles and a mask to fight the Masaya's toxic gases, enveloped by the plume of sulfuric acid, you can only see him with a thermal camera showing his heat signature.
It's a storm. It's pretty amazing.
A heart-stopping moment 7 minutes in.
Well, the cable was just around my neck.
But he stayed calm as he crossed the most dangerous part of the walk, right above that 2,000-degree lava volcano. The lava beneath reaching up to 2,200 degrees Fahrenheit.
There's a very strong draft right there.
Well, Jesus. Thank you, Lord.
Wearing a gas mask and oxygen tank, Wallenda battled toxic gas and wind, which affected his aerodynamics and visibility.
Whew, the gas moving under me. That'll mess with you. Whew, the gas moving under me.
30 minutes into his feet, drenched in sweat, the final step.
And death was defeated.
What goes through your mind when you're watching the love of your life,
Oh my God.
1,800 feet away?
It's funny, I was watching him on the big screen and I could see the stress in his face, and I was like, I'm sorry, I can't. I told my in-laws, I was like, I can't watch that.
And my dad's
Most
mic
of it,
was open,
yeah.
so I heard you saying all of that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was like, oh, I guess I should
Sorry.
smile, but I got a mask on. You can't see it anyway.
What does it mean to be surrounded by your family for this?
I wouldn't do it without them. There'd be no reason to. This is all about family and legacy and family history, and again, inspiring people that nothing's impossible.
Before his attempt, I asked Wallenda about what laid ahead.
The reality is I'm risking my life, and we're dealing with Mother Nature.
Relative to your previous accomplishments, where's your head at going into this one?
I've trained and prepared so hard for this, and again, years and years have gone into this. But there's a little more angst probably going into this one because of all of the unique elements, because we don't know what it's going to be like out in the middle there.
Mike Trofer, Wallenda's uncle, is the lead engineer and has been preparing 6 months for this event, guiding a team of riggers to make sure that the main wire, just over 1 inch thick, and the 116 stabilizing wires stayed secure.
What sort of surprises have been in store as you've been installing this?
Well, the environment has thrown us a pretty big one. This gas coming up out of the crater has a significant acid content, and this is one of the stabilizers that was hooked to the rope.
That doesn't look good.
That's not good. This is corrosion caused by the stress that was in the rope. I didn't see it coming, but we've got it fixed now.
The last week in the middle of the night, I'll wake up in cold sweats because of this walk. Every step is dangerous, but I will start to become more and more relaxed as I get through that gas, for sure.
What will you do in the moment when the wind does pick up and you're out there in the elements?
I will adjust to that wind as best that I can, and that's where my training and experience of walking over the Grand Canyon and Niagara Falls and Chicago and New York City, all of that combined is the only reason why I'm able to take that first step on Wednesday night.
Fighting the elements is nothing new for Wallenda. Whether it's teetering on the edge of the Grand Canyon, walking blindfolded 600 feet above the Chicago skyline, or crossing Niagara Falls, Wallenda has been pushing the boundaries of what's possible for decades.
His 26th minute of the walk.
Sprinting to the finish.
You don't have to move. I'm going to do this. What do you think, New York City? What do you think, world?
Last year, Wallenda and his sister Liana made history once again, 260 feet above Times Square in New York City, 1,300 feet on a cable, no thicker than a garden hose.
To do something that's going to literally leave my fingerprint on the city is pretty exciting.
The Wallenda family, known famously as the Flying Wallendas, traced their roots to European circus performers all the way back to the 1700s. Testing limits is in their DNA. Nick and Liana are 7th-generation wire walkers. Their family has been performing mesmerizing feats of athleticism for decades, as showcased in this 1963 documentary for the CBC.
My mom was walking the wire when she was 6 months pregnant with me. I've walked the wire since I was 18 months old.
Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it.
For me, being on the wire is alive. There's something extremely peaceful and serene about that. Just like some find their peace by going on a jog or reading, I find my peace by getting on a wire.
But in that peace, there's a constant danger. The family has not been immune to the tragedy inherent in the dangers of their work. Several Wallendas have died or been injured in high wire falls. In 1978, Nick's great-grandfather, Carl Wallenda, a renowned high-wire performer himself, fell to his death during a stunt in Puerto Rico at 73 years old. This video captured by a local news crew at the time showing his harrowing final moments. And in 2017, a near catastrophe for the family when a pyramid made up of 8 performers collapsed at a training session.
It was February 8th. About 10:30 in the morning, we were preparing to break a world record for an 8-person pyramid. And as we made our way out on that wire, we lost our balance and that pyramid collapsed. By the grace of God, I caught the wire, my cousin caught the wire, another gentleman stayed on the wire, but 5 of my family members and friends hit the ground.
I broke a rib, punctured my right ear canal, broke clear through my left humerus, but the big one was every bone in my face.
The trauma doctor, he said, when we first got the call, he said, the fear in the voices of the paramedics, he says, I was certain we were going to have fatalities by the time they got to the hospital. But 10 days later, Liana's going home, so.
It's just hard to relive it over and over again. It's weird when something that dramatic happens to you every single step of the way. I mean, that's why I'm a little emotional, because I'm there again.
Tonight, that emotion and history no doubt in the air as Wallenda achieved his latest dream.
Sage, you just caught a piece of history right there.
Think of running across.
Nick Wallenda off the wire and into the history books in Nicaragua.
The technology we're bringing to market would be able to boost energy density by about 20%, and then over the next couple of years we'll push it to about 40% improvement. The existing chemistry improves maybe 2% every couple of years, so we're really bringing a new battery chemistry to market for the first time in about 30 years. As I spent more time looking at batteries, it really turns out to be one of the hardest problems in the world.
The rechargeable lithium battery has been the standard for everyday tech devices and electric vehicle power. As the world races toward an electric future, it needs something better to keep pace. Battery startups trying to build better batteries, ones with lower costs and better performance, believe big improvements are coming.
The lithium-ion chemistry has really reached its theoretical limits. Sila is a materials company that was founded with the mission of moving us to a new generation of battery chemistry, and that new generation of battery chemistry will enable further advances in energy density that'll allow electric vehicles to go further, be cheaper, as well as make for better consumer devices.
Sila is one of several startups that received major funding to continue working on their technology. Now, after about 10 years of research, they'll soon be ready for the commercial spotlight.
things like wearable fitness trackers, smartwatches, wireless earbuds, cell phones, but it really is going to take us quite a lot of scaling up before we're in electric vehicles. And the hope is really to start in electric vehicles where we can deliver the highest performance, and then as we're able to produce the material at a larger and larger scale, bring down its cost and further bring down the cost of the battery, we would want to be in every passenger electric vehicle produced.
To do that, Sila has replaced the graphite in today's batteries with silicone to create silicone anode batteries. They say this change can deliver a better performance from a cheaper product.
The percentage of intelligence that is not human is increasing, and eventually we will represent a very small percentage of intelligence. I try to convince people to slow down AI, to regulate AI. This was futile. I tried for years. Usually it'll be some new technology. It will cause damage or death. There will be an outcry. There will be an investigation. Years will pass. There will be some sort of insight committee. There will be rulemaking. Then there will be oversight, eventually regulations. This all takes many years. This is the normal course of things. This time frame is not relevant to AI. You can't take 10 years from the point.
Utilities are going to want is predictable solar and predictable wind, and the way you get to predictable solar and predictable wind is to have energy storage coupled with it, so that whenever the wind is blowing, you're charging the battery, and whenever the utility needs the power, you're discharging it. So we think that this chemistry is a huge accelerator for being able to deploy renewables from a few percentage points on the grid to replacing most fossil fuels around the world.
The long development timeline for these startups is a sign of how difficult pushing battery technology can be.
We're in our 8th year of operation as a business. We've raised about $125 million to date just to get to a place where we've solved the chemistry problem. It's that hard. It's taken almost a decade just to make the technology work. And so now the challenge shifts for us to really scaling it up. And it requires everybody to work together to get to the right answer. We have a deep belief that new battery chemistries become the standard after some years. We've seen that before, and so as we start to launch this chemistry, so long as we can get our production volumes up, then we expect that this chemistry or these kinds of chemistries will become the de facto standard for the next generation or so.
That future. You know, there need to be things that make you look forward to waking up in the morning. You wake up in the morning, you look forward to the day, look forward to the future. A future where we are a spacefaring civilization and out there among the stars, I think that's very exciting. That is a thing we want. Whereas if you knew we would not be a spacefaring civilization but forever confined to Earth, this would not be a good future. That would be very sad, I think. If there are two futures, and one future is we're out there among the stars, and the things we read about and see in science fiction movies, the good ones, are true. We have these starships, and we're going to see what other planets are like, and we're a multi-planet species, and the scope and scale of consciousness is expanded across many civilizations and many planets and many star systems. This is a great future. This is a wonderful thing to me, and that's what we should strive for. Wouldn't hurt to have more love in the world. I think people should be nicer to each other. Give more credit to others, and don't assume that they're mean until you know they're actually mean. You know, it's easy to demonize people. You're usually wrong about it. People are nicer than you think. Give people more credit.